Hello, everyone. I think that we are live and we are broadcasting. We're going to check that we are actually live. Double checking, everyone. Yeah, we are live. How you doing, everyone? Like we did last week, we talked about the president and vice president compatibilities from the face reading profiling standpoint. I said at the end or almost in the middle of the last broadcasting last week, the profilers in this episode, we don't have any relationship or personal affiliation or personal idea, or we don't put our personal belief in this reading. What we're doing is from the face reading 100 standpoint is what we're doing here. So we're going to go for order of appearing. Joseph Maguire, all the way from Ireland. Tell us who you are, and you are our partner in crime every time that we do face reading. Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure, Susan. Yes, I'm from Ireland, from Dublin, and my background is very much with the Chinese system, the ancient tradition of Mian Sheng. And the understanding there is that our facial features, our static facial features, reveal a huge amount of information about our personality, behavior style, communication patterns, stress triggers and responses, health issues, ancestral influences, parental influences, and more besides.
And you have a class coming up, or I don't know if you already started, when you're going to put all your knowledge together, but based on your approach of face reading. It's coming up, or you already started with the class?
I just finished one, and we've got another one coming up starting on October the 7th, Wednesday evening, Irish time. That is October 7th at the afternoon, your time. I'm calling it Relationships and Communication, Vital Skills for Getting It Right.
I always say Joseph does the caring and empathetic part of face reading. I do more the hardcore face reading. So if you want to know about relationships and health and how to improve relationship, Joseph Maguire is the right person to go with. After the recording, we're going to put your information if you want to type it on the chat button in the meantime that we're talking. And we have Elva River all the way from Central America. She's the CEO and head trainer of our office in Latin America. And she had an accident last Friday, and you still with the bracelet on the arm? Yeah.
Oh. I still have it, yeah.
So she spent all week taking meds, and she decided not to take the meds today, so she have her brain back to be doing the reading. Elva, tell us who you are.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Like Susan says, I'm Elva Uribe. I'm the human behavior hacker for Latin America. I'm from Guatemala, and I'm crazy, and I'm curious, and I love to do this. Like Susan said, it's the hardcore. And just to say it before, English is not my first language, so please be patient with me, and let's do it.
It's about the knowledge, not about the language. And I have a strong accent, and I'm really tired today. And this is my first of 3 lives that I have today. Besides, for the people on our Facebook study group, today we have deception detection, like high level, how lawyers should be preparing better their clients to lose $25 million. So for the ones who are in our study group, do not miss the timer. So we're going to share the screen, and I learned how to share it without messing it up this week. And I it's improving. So I'm going to be sharing the screen, and let's go for it. It's going to look like we are not seeing each other, but actually we're going to be seeing each other. So guys, let me know if you can see the presentation. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
I'm checking on the screen. And by the way, it looked like we are not showing up, but we're still on the corner. Oh no, we're sharing the wrong screen. I'm sorry. You see? I need to learn better. I'm sharing the wrong screen. Okay, let's go again. Okay, here we go. Now I know what I need to be sharing. Okay, let's see.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Now it's sharing. Let's see if it's sharing the right one. We're showing the bone of internal. Yeah, we had it. So even though we don't see each other, people can still see us. So let's behave, because I don't know you guys, but I tend to not behave. So today we're going to be talking about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. So one of the most difficult things was for us to find the ears of Kamala Harris. And thank you, Joseph, you find the ears. Believe it or not, it's a reason why we need to see the ears of people when we do face reading. Any of you want to explain from, actually, let's do it this. Joseph, why don't you explain us from the Chinese perspective why ears and eyebrows are so important, and eyes for you? You are extremely, you stress on the fact that you need to see the eyes of the people. And I always says, if I can see your ears, I can see your eyes that comprehend the eyelids, the bottom eyelids, and the eyebrows. I can do easy a 25-page report. I don't see anything else in your face. Actually, people is going crazy about reading faces with mask or smicing or micro expression. All the expressions, everything happen in your eyes. Yeah. Actually, having a mask, I think, even make it easy for a face reader to concentrate on the things it has to do with intake information and process information. So why don't you, Joseph, tell us why the ears and the eyes are so important from your perspective and face reading?
Okay, well, let's start with the ears. The ears, from the Chinese perspective, reveal a lot of what's happened in the first 14 years of life. They also reveal about our constitutional strength. They reveal a lot about our ancestral influences, both genetically, mentally, emotionally, even spiritually. They tell a lot about our health history in many ways. They tell a lot about our levels of generosity, strength of intuition, how we are in relationship, and more besides. The eyes are often referred to as the windows to the soul. And particularly when I'm doing an individual reading and I'm looking at the eyes, there's so many layers of history in the eyes. They tell me so much about the emotional history of the person, not so much the detail of what has happened, but where they've been at different times in their life. So it's like peeling back the layers of the onion to see where they've been at different times. And I can see how they've progressed through their life in terms of whether they were up or down, happy, sad, their levels of well-being. And where there's an old Chinese saying that if you don't change direction, you'll end up where you're headed. So I can see where people have come from, I can see where they're at, and I can see where they could be going if they don't address their issues, or in some cases, if they have addressed their issues, they can really progress very, very fast.
I don't recall what psychologist says, or who says that if you are expecting to do everything the same thing and expect a different outcome, this is the concept of madness. So if you can
Einstein,
go from
yeah.
Einstein,
thank you. You see, I have my head all over the place today. So yeah, so I think that reading from where you come in and you go in from your eyes is a really good way to, from another standpoint, to decide what is getting away from the concept of insanity. Elba, do you want to tell us why you're so fascinated with ears and eyes? Because that's the first thing, like, oh my God, I need to see the ears.
Yeah, I think, well, for me, it's like the ears is like how you can listen. How, if you listen with your ears or you listen with your eyes, it's like your ears are like your antenna. You intake all the information and then you can distribute to all the things. And the eyebrows are the process, how you process the information. So I think with these two, you can have a lot of information and how to know how to communicate with others. I think it's so amazing.
Okay, so since we're talking about why and how the ears are important, our first image is we have ears. So we have two distinctive ears, and again, we're going to go for order of appearance. Joseph, what you can tell us from both ears, and again, for the ones who haven't seen the complete webinar we did in April with Joseph, I would advise you to go to see where we did the reading on each of the candidates. We did a second episode when we talk about who will be the perfect or complementary, I think that will be a better way to say it, for each of the candidate based on the face reading. And now they chosen, we do this third series. So Joseph, you are first on the screen. So tell us, what do you think about the compatibilities, pros and cons, and those two people ears.
Okay, well, let's go with Kamala Harris first. The first thing you notice is that the eyebrows are much higher than the top of the ears. So that tells you she doesn't like to be put under pressure to make decisions. She likes to have all the information. She likes time to reflect, ponder, and then make her decisions. That's the first thing. The second thing for me then is that although we can't see the full size, the full shape of the ear here, we can see that it's by and large, it's pretty rounded. So that tells you that she's naturally quite resilient. Which is going to be important, obviously, in life, but especially in politics at that sort of level, because you're going to get a lot of criticism, no matter who you are, no matter what your role is. You know you're going to be in the firing line, so you need to be very, very resilient. We can also see the little flap of cartilage at the front of the ear is called the tragus, and we can see just behind that what's called the intertragal notch. That's quite deep. So that tells us that certainly, at least in her private life, because we're looking at her left ear here, she's quite generous. So that's not just in terms of private relationships, but in terms of her private perspectives on life. So that's one of the advantages, one of the areas of compatibility she will have with Biden, is that she will look to be generous in her support of him. So that's going to be really helpful. He, on the other hand, has a much longer ear, and the ear, the height, the top of the ear is level pretty much with the eyebrows. So he doesn't take all that length of time to make his decisions. He's quite pragmatic in terms of just saying it as it is. But also the length of the ear is really helpful, because it shows you that constitutionally he's very, very strong. He has what we call, I guess, resilience as well. But it's a different form of resilience. It's a slower process with him. But also the outer rim of the ear, the helix, and the inner rim, the antihelix, are both well defined. So it tells you that, again, mentally, emotionally, constitutionally, he's strong. He has that resilience. But it's also genetically passed on, as it were. He's been heavily influenced by the strength of his grandparents, particularly, as we can see, his left ear. So that's influenced very heavily by the strength of his grandparents on his father's side, especially.
I have the feeling, and I did the measurement and inclination, I have the feeling that Kamala Harris is on the cusp to be low ears. What is your perception, guys? And when we talk about this, we're talking about, if you measure from the eye, you draw a line, her ears just on the cusp. So you would say, she can lean on an average that is more the mediator person, because I find that when somebody has something is on the average point, that is not too high, too low, too big, too small, it's more on the mediator part.
Yeah, do you want to go with that, Elba?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's don't worry. I think the same. When people has the average feature, like it's high, it's not too high, not too low. It's the kind of person that can know when she can be fast or when she can be slow. So she can know when she has to take the information really fast, when she has to move fast. But in the meantime, she can know too when she can slow down. And I think he's going to be helpful for Biden, because she can go with him when the things are like doing like right now, but she can be like, okay, wait a minute, just slow down and think about it. So I think this can be the compatibility.
Yeah, I think he is do it now and she's do it right. So I think in politics that can be a really good asset, because even though sometimes you need to jump on your feet and you need to do things fast, sometimes you need to look for the consequence and the perspective on things. And I always says, when somebody says, oh, but we're really different, like, I don't talk about different problems. I talk about compatibilities. If you know those differences, if you can maximize it, actually you have a great team. The point is, can you sit and agree those are advantage on the team, or is going to be a completely friction because it's a question of power, who go first and who go faster. But yeah, I think that and the good side, that can be a compliment, that she's going to take more time to listen to things. They're both visual, But the problem can be that he's going to go too fast and she's going to need more time to see things and process things and receive information. But both are visual. So it's going to be like, it's like taking the same bus, but sitting in different seats. So one is going to be watching the image from the front seat and another one from the back seat. So you're going to want to be listening to things 2 times to get it incorporated. Sometimes people think when they have low ears, like, it's something wrong with me, I didn't get it. Like, no, you have a different time of process.
Yeah.
And sometimes I found that people who have low ears or average low ears tend to remember information longer, because since their process, the incorporated information is longer, they tend to get it on the head and remember. Than the people who sometimes process information too fast, they tend to lose sometimes the big picture. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'd agree. Absolutely. And she's going to have to work hard to complement him. That's for sure, because he is inclined to not just like we know from experience, and we'll talk about various features later, but we know from experience that he is inclined to talk sometimes before he thinks. And he can talk quite a bit.
Yeah, I think the same. And it's going to be like she's going to be the one that says, okay, just hang on, wait a minute, just think about it. I know you process fast, but let's think about it, the pros and the cons. And she's going to take more time to get things, but I think this is going to be helpful for both if they can manage.
Yeah.
I like that. If they can manage.
Keywords. Yes.
Yesterday I was in an event. The first event in person I have in 6 months. Was so weird to see people. And I was talking with a person who is like completely left brain. Straight eyebrows, low eyebrows, high ears. Like, oh my God, he like, you couldn't finish a concept. He came up with a question and he says, well, I have a problem communicating with my wife. She thinks that I'm not listening to her. And she tells me the same story 3 times. I'm like, okay, your wife has small ears, low ears, and she probably have round eyebrows. I'm like, how you know my wife? Like, no. Believe it or not, I don't know what happened to you guys, but sometimes when people describe their personalities, all the conflict they have in any partnership, can be friendship, business wife, or love life, and says like, okay, based on the features that I'm seeing in you, I can determine what are the features that your partner can have and why are the conflicts happen. So I call it reverse face reading. Some people's like, it's too risky. Like, no, get to a point that you understand based on the problematic they have, what are the difference on the features. So I hope that somebody on the team says, guys, sit and understand that is a good thing that can complement each other.
Yeah, it's a vital skill in any relationship. And actually understanding where the other person is coming from and how they process is absolutely essential knowledge.
Yeah, and like I like, because Elba came out with a concept when we do presentation, she put a big satellite antenna, and that is when people like, oh, that's what ears are like. Yeah, it's like the big antenna, how you intake information. So if the communication is broken, if the communication is not clear, when you incorporate, it's like when you incorporate information to the computer, you can have the best computer in the world, you can have the best brain in the world, but if the information is not allocated, if the information is not delivered, if the information is not given on the way that person needs to receive it, doesn't matter how intelligent they are, it's not going to work. What do you think?
I think the same. That's why I think the antenna is like, wow, yeah, it's how you take it. It's how the antenna take the information, but it has to be the right information, because you cannot do anything if you don't have all the pieces.
Yeah. Joseph, I have a mosquito by me.
busy there for you. Yeah. It's that's the whole thing, that it's so we so often don't get it. We tend to see the world through our own prism, and we tend to assume that other people are seeing things and processing things the way we do, and that's very rarely the case. So actually taking time to stop and check how they are, naturally process it, how they are actually taking it in or not, and calibrating our message, calibrating our approach to them makes such a difference in any level of communication, whether that be business, personal, social, doesn't matter. It's the same rule applies.
Yeah.
And in our classes, when we spend so much time in ears and eyebrows, people say like, why I need to get through like 2 hours of ears, like, because you don't have an idea how important it is. And that's the reason we haven't spent like 10 minutes explaining that. I think it's important not to only to says what we see, is how we see it and how important it is to see it. Now we go to the intel of both forehead and eyebrows, and here we're gonna have a lot of fun. Who wanna go first?
Me.
Let the lady go first. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, she's like me. Okay, well, you can go first.
Okay. I wanted to start with the eyebrows and the type of eyebrows that both have. Okay, they have winged eyebrows. What I mean with this is the eyebrows that start thick and end thin. These kind of people, they are kind of they can start things, they have all the enthusiasm, they can have all the ideas and put it on the table, but they're going to stop in some point, they're going to lose the interest, so they can let things unfinished. Both are the same. It's good for them because they are going to be like, both are going to be like, okay, let's do it, let's put things that they can have all the possibilities to the projects that they want to develop. But I think in some point they will need someone to can
execute
the things, because they are not going to execute. They are not going to. For example, I came with this, and it's a great example for me. It's like, I want to move my hand. I have the idea, but who is going to make the action to move the hand? The hand. I have the idea in my brain, but I have something to execute that idea, and it's my hand. It's the same. They are going to be the brain. They are going to have all the things, but they need someone to can develop the projects or the ideas or the strategies that they have. What do you think, guys?
Joseph?
Well, absolutely, and you're absolutely right, Elba, there that the eyebrows reveal so much about how somebody processes and how they progress through any given undertaking, any kind of project. And we do notice a difference between the two. And obviously, many women will sculpt their eyebrows and will shape them, which is quite deliberately. But even then, we work with what we see. We can often it's often very easy to tell what the original shape was, but we work with what we see. And in her case, we can see that the distinct thickness at the beginning. So being organized and planning at the beginning is very important to her. But then, as you say, they are winged. So her enthusiasm, her motivation, her energy can dissipate as she progresses, and particularly as she gets towards the end of a project. So it's important that somebody is there to manage and oversee, or that she can delegate very well. Where with Joe Biden, he has the same kind of winged eyebrows, but his are much more scattered. So she or somebody is going to have to manage him as well.
And I think we talked that when we were talking about who going to be the complementary. And I do recall talking about like Joe Biden is going to need someone who have more either managerial eyebrows, or they have even eyebrows where they can take what his ideas and execute it, or somebody who can go from the idea to the finish, all the process to make executable. So I think that we have a conflict here. So the cabinet they choose, and the people, if they win, they choose for each of the position is going to need to be executable. They need to be doers. They need to be taking those ideas and make it happen. And it's nothing wrong with that if you have the right team. I always say the same. The team that we are in Human Behavioral Lab, we do a lot of analysis. We read when people apply for a job, and like, okay, the good news is we are doing the interview with you is because we profile you. The bad news is we already know everything about you. So we know that you're going to be complementing and the position that you are going to be sitting two things that, in my case, fall in deadline. For example, Elba is more emotional, so she helped me to be dealing more empathetic with my team, our team, and with other people. And every time that I have a meeting, Elba is in like, Elba, should I have done something different? I was too harsh. I was like, no, you're getting better to be more empathetic with people. That instead to fighting with my preferences. And when we talk about Myers-Briggs, that, by the way, never ever use it to hire someone. Always use it to know how the person is going to be better working and how you can complement it in you. And in my case, I use Myers-Briggs as an assessment. It's not a test. You can use many. Face reading and Myers-Briggs, and you can have like 90% of complete assessment of the person, is that you can understand what are your preferences. And under stress, doesn't matter who you are, you're gonna go to your preferences. I always talk, if you're right-handed and you write your name with the right hand, you can write it with the left. You still can do it, but under stress situation, you're going to go to your preferences. And these two, under stress, they're going to go to ideas. Maybe when they take time, even though maybe they don't like it, I see that Kamala has a longest eyebrow. So maybe she even can push a little harder to finish this. But Biden have a short eyebrows. So I think for him it's going to be more difficult to push himself. So the pros is that both are going to come up with great ideas. The cons is that maybe she can push herself to do it, and they're going to need to have, again, a really good cabinet and really people accompany them to make executing the things that happen. Guys, I'm off in any of the comments.
Oh, I agree with that.
Yeah, at the best of times, and if we look at the history of politics, it's rare that a cabinet is united anyway, and that's going to be essential, because once you get to that level of politics, people tend to be jockeying for position. So there's always competition at that level. So it's going to be essential that somebody is managing the cabinet very, very well.
Now, something that I think it's good between these two is the shape of the eyebrows. He have straight, like facts and data, not approachable to people, not to people oriented. Is the way it is the way I say it, is my way or the highway. She have more rounded eyebrows, that she's gonna be more onto people, the ecosystem, making sure the planet to grains put back to the people as front. And that can be good thing, but some can be a bad things too, because I have the feeling that she can be more emotional than he is. So he want to execute. It's this way, the numbers say, and she's like, well, but what is going to happen with that people when we execute? Guys, what do you think?
I think the same. When you guys did the first face reading with Biden, I remember that you said that he will need someone to can be more empathetic, to be more people oriented. And I think in this point, it can be a compliment. But like you said, it's like, be careful, because she's going to be very emotional, and he is going to be like, oh no, I need facts and data, and I'm going to do it like this, and do like a logical way.
Joseph?
Yeah, we can see the curve of the eyebrows. We can also see the lovely rounded quality of the cheeks. We can see the rounded quality of the chin. So there is that person-centered dimension to her. But we can also, if we just go back to the eyes, her eyes are also very ambitious. So she doesn't see herself just as a VP. That I can tell you. So she is likely to play the role. She's likely to do what she needs to do in terms of supporting him, complimenting him, being complimentary playing a complimentary role. But she sees herself going further than that.
On the case of Biden, I can see the distance between the eyes, that he is more, I would say he's more intuitive. He see the big picture, and he's going to be late to if he get elected to president, he's going to be late to the meeting. I cannot determine Kamala Harris. Let's see, go back, because I think that is important. Yeah, I didn't put any picture to show that, but he is going to be late to everything, and he's going to be watching the big picture. Guys, any of you can define the distance between the eyes of Kamala?
You can put the
Not
first
from
slide. The first one.
Oh,
when you put the.
You see, even when met, you're thinking better than I think. Here we go.
Yeah,
thanks.
that one.
There we go. Yeah.
I would say both have big distance between the eyes.
Yeah.
Me too.
Definitely. Yeah. So they might both arrive late. but at least if they arrive together, it'll be helpful.
Yeah.
So anybody want to explain? Because when I said to people like you, in my case, I'm going to be late to my own funeral, and people like, what you mean? Like, okay, let me explain you what is the detail-oriented and not detail-oriented. And sometimes I says, okay, beside then I am dyslexic, I own it. I'm more in the execution of things, and I'm the big picture. If the information in my slides and my presentation is correct, if they're aligned, or one, they have different typos. Even sometimes we have Anne on the team that she correct our PowerPoint, and she sometimes spend a day and like, guys, you have different typos. You have this and this and this. And Elba and I like, what? I didn't see it. And Vanessa is the one who correct our grammar and like, guys, you invert the words. Like, I didn't see it. I just want to make the information there. I want people to be well informed. And says, it's too much information. You're going to overwhelm people. And that's what happens when you have the big picture, because you want to give too much. You're more worried about the delivering things and not to the details. When I have students, when I ask for feedback and somebody says, well, nice class, but it was highly distracted because it was 2 typos on the presentation or was misaligned. Like, dude, you went through 4 hours of training and that's your feedback? And I says, oh, I know who is going to be that person as soon as I get to the class. And sometimes for fun, I write on a flashcard saying like, you're going to complain about these. Those are your 3 or 4 tendencies or preferences. And I put it in an envelope and I says, you cannot open until the end of the class. And when the class finishes, I'm like, how you know I'm going to complain about this? Or how you know I'm doing this? So what do you think? Why is so important the distance between the eyes? Who want to take it from there?
You go for it there, Elba.
Okay, thank you. I think, okay, let's start with the people has a long distance. They are more care about the journey, not the destination. So I think this is going to be like the big picture. I wanted to see everything. I have a wide vision. But the people with short distance, they are more detail oriented. Yeah, narrow. They are detail oriented. They need, like you said, in a presentation. I can see a presentation and I can see it 1, 2, 3 times, and I don't see if I have a different type of words. I don't see if I don't have everything in the same place. I cannot see it. I just see if they have all the information, the things that I want to say, and that's the thing for me. So I think that's the difference.
Yeah, I guess from a Chinese perspective, you can also find that when the eyes are quite far apart, people can also be quite indecisive. So they're, on the one hand, they're looking at the bigger picture, but they can get kind of lost in looking at the picture, and they kind of daydream and find it hard to make decisions. On the other hand, then when the eyes are really close together, they can almost be so rigidly focused on detail, and so that the focus becomes so narrow that they can almost become fanatical.
Oh, okay. Now I know what I have so much difficult every time that I need to do shopping and I do so much research. between my pointy eyebrows and my distance between my eyes and my low, small ears, like, yeah, I can drive crazy to a psychologist when I need to make decisions. Thank you, Joseph. Now I find something else about myself. I always learn something new from your perspective. I didn't know that. But yeah, and Elva and I, we do the hiring and interview together every time that we need either an intern or hire someone. And the first, and we're looking like, okay, let's look for things that we don't have, they can help us.
Yeah.
So we always like, oh my God, this is the perfect person to correct our PowerPoint. This is the person who's gonna make us look better. Even though we work in two of the websites that we have in Spanish and English, and we made a lot of mistakes, and we hired somebody to go through the website, like, guys, you didn't see that, like different typos, like, no, we didn't realize that. So yeah, you need to, that help you to know who you need to complement with you. So guys, how you think that this distance between eyes is going to work between them? How they gonna fix that if they're not aware of that in the indecision on a VP and a president or vice versa can be complicated.
That's for sure.
Yes.
That's for sure. And there's another thing that I don't know if we can see it that clearly with the slide with Biden, but there's a little sort of triangle here where it's like the baseline is across the bridge of the nose, and then there's two lines going up, which form a kind of triangle.
The visionary lines?
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if we can put it. I tried to make it. Here we go.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So it tells you, yeah. So he can be a creative problem solver, but a lot of what he does is going to be purely intuitive, off the cuff. So she as a lawyer is probably going to be quite frustrated with that, because obviously as a lawyer, a lot of preparation goes into what she does. So it's going to be very interesting that on the one hand, he's seeing the big picture. On the other hand, he's being intuitive and off the cuff. So he's going to be just a very unpredictable element to what he does. So she's looking at the picture and he's making a decision spontaneously. And she's, wait, but hold back here. Let's consider. But he's already done it. So that's going to be a potential point of conflict between them.
You know what? I have the feeling that she have a kind of similar triangle, but she have Botox on the top of the nose.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the shadow, you see?
Yeah. It's hard to tell. Yeah.
It's hard to tell, but so we says in face reading, if you don't see it, you don't read it. But I see a couple of pictures when she was younger, and I can see the kind of shadow on the triangle, but I think that she has been, maybe like you said, because she's a lawyer, she has been withdrawn that visionary part because she need to be more pragmatical and need to be like, that the facts and data, this is the case, and that's how I need to present it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, guys, we have been talking for 35 minutes. Wow. And we only talk about ears, shape of the eyebrows. So that's what I'm saying. People like, hey, give me a face and I can give you 8 hours. So guys, anything that you want to pick on the face, like you 3 pros, 3 cons, and we see if we have, hey, Baron, hey, Earl, likes our froggy eyes. Froggy eyes, like, not sure what I mean froggy eyes. My apologies for the ignorance. So guys, you want to go and take it from there to see the pros and cons?
Yeah, okay. I'll have a look at the two mouths. They're both quite wide, so they're both naturally verbally quite expressive. But her lips are noticeably fuller than his, where his upper lip in particular almost disappears, almost non-existent. Mm-hmm. So that tells you, again, going back to what we were saying earlier, that he's not a feeling kind of guy. He's very much in his head. So she is going to have to soften a lot of what he actually does. So it's like she's going to be picking up. It's like if there was a party in the house, he'd be the guy creating chaos, upsetting people, and she's the one who has to go and mollify them and be the diplomat afterwards. So she's got the one who has to pacify people. So there's probably going to be a lot of that in the relationship, where he'll be speaking out of turn, and she has to calm the waters. So I would certainly see that happening there.
Anything else that you gonna point on between them?
Yeah, it's also interesting. I know we've touched on it before with Biden, and I know he has had a mini stroke or something in the relatively recent years. And you notice that his mouth pulls up to the right, which tells you
Yeah,
that he's the salesman.
yeah.
And that's not unusual with politicians, but his default setting is to look to sell you, to persuade you of something. She doesn't quite have that. So again, he's going to be, because he's so verbally expressive, he's going to be in that convincing persuasion mode all the time. And again, she's going to be more reflective. So again, she's going to have to be doing a lot of tidying up after him.
I have a dull question comment altogether. So it's going to be a compound question. I don't know if I can read these two lines as a circular lines, or this one cannot become grieving line. They're keeping so much secret. It's any specific meaning on the Chinese face reading that maybe on the Western side we are missing, Joseph.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Yeah.
I see the lines and the sort of little indentations in the hollows, and there's several potential meanings, but they're not that distinct. So it could be grief, it could be holding things back, it could be secrecy, it could even be, particularly on the left side there, it could even be an element of feeling inferior.
Yeah, I would love to have him face to face, like
Yeah.
not even talking. I don't want you to talk.
Oh yeah.
Just move your face. I want to have you in front of me, even video, for 5 minutes. So you move your face, smile, neutral, and like, oh my God, I want to be so excited.
Oh yeah.
And people,
yeah.
And we talk about Joseph with this. When I was learning face reading, I used to rent a booth on different carnivals and fairs on the weekends, and it says free face reading only because I get fascinated and I spend like, oh my God, I love your face. I'm like, I'm full of wrinkles. Like, no, your face is awesome. And people look at me weird, like, why you're so fascinating. Oh, going on the subway, like we talked about the acid trip last week, that I'm going on the subway. I would advise you, if you start, the first thing I tell to my students when they start doing face reading, use dark glasses and double check your glasses are dark enough, because you're going to be spotting people on the bus and the subway, and people are going to come up to you like, what is your problem? Why are you looking at me like, I'm sorry, your face is fascinated. So yeah, that happened. Elba?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I remember that advice.
Yeah, I always say it because I was caught in the subway more than once. One time a guy came to me like, do we know each other? Do we owe you anything? Like, no, I'm just fascinated. And a piece of advice, stop taking all the problems of your family and put it in your backpack. Like, since how you know me? Like, and I give it a card like, I'm sorry, sir, I'm a face reader and I'm profiling and your face is fascinated. Free advice, stop taking. And he ended up sitting next to me and talking to me for the rest of the ride. Like, he was crazy, and he ended up being in one of my classes, but that happened. Faces, you become addicted to this. We say it, this is addicted. Okay, Elba, your top picks.
Okay, I think the cheeks, he has like more narrow cheeks and she's like wide cheeks. So I think here he can be the one that he can lose the energy, but she's going to keep it. She's going to say, okay, I'm like the energizer bunny, so I can deal with this. I think that can be a complementary for both. And I am just, can you put the, I don't know, the first picture? I just want to make sure the chin.
Yes, chin is something that, this one?
Yeah. I think correct me if I'm not, I think she has like straight chin. What do you think? Or more rounded in the borders?
I go for round. Joseph?
Yeah, I'd go for round as well. Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Yeah. So that's why I remember that she's the kind of person that she's going to be empath. She's going to be people oriented. So I think this is going to help for him. to put in a level that, yeah, I know you are going to be the one that needs facts and data. You are going to be like a knife, but let's take consideration about people. So I think this is going to be a good complement for both. Like I said before, if they can manage to.
It's going to be fun if
Yes.
these two get to the presidency. I think both candidates, it's going to be fun how to see how they interact. But in this case, female male is going to be a fight. I have 3 picks. First, I know that in Chinese face reading, the wrinkles who going up on the eyes are like, they call it maniac wrinkles. I call it stop checking your cell phone at 3 o'clock in the morning. So she's going to be like, wanted always to be on top. She have beside the makeup, she have warrior chicks. Warrior chicks are the chicks who are 45 degrees, and you can touch your face and found it, and you find that your cheeks start here and ended here in the middle of the face. That's meaning they're 45 degree. She's a warrior. He's not. I don't see the warrior. I see fire on her. I see water wood on him, but I'm not really versatile on that kind of things. And in face reading, you are better than I am, Joseph. I'm still trying to learn that topic. And her lower tooth are really crooked, meaning that her standards of perfectionism are higher. And I think that is going to be a good propeller to whatever happened. And if something happened to him, she can take control of the situation. Those are the 3 good things, but are the 3 good things, the 3 things that I think that can be a problem. Her standards are high. She's a natural fighter. She's gonna put a fight until the end. She's not gonna give up. You can see this in Abraham Lincoln. And if you start studying pictures from Indians, the warriors were on top of the fight on the war. The one who like put with the fight, they have the same chick, and those wrinkles is like, she never gonna stop. She doesn't care. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Things that they need to get done. She's gonna wake up everybody in the cabinet like, we need to fix this. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't care. Everybody up. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Albert, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the same. And you know what? Going back to the eyebrows, she has like thin eyebrows, so that makes sense with the teeth. So yeah, her standards are really, really high.
Okay, Mark says, Susan love Froggy, huge eye space apart. Oh, thank you very much. Now I understand what is Froggy.
Wow.
I always says everybody have their own dictionary. So what is Froggy for you? I don't know what it is. So I always ask instead to assume. So guy, as always, I sometimes says I have more fun than the people watching. I don't know if it's that good or bad, but I love this. We gonna have another different kind of face reading next live Friday at 2:30 p.m. We're gonna talk about 2 different pictures with 4 years apart with a person who worked on trauma. That she has been lovely. She is part of our study group. So we're gonna be talking about how a face can change. Like it's 2 different people, and you can think they spend 30 years between one picture and another and only spend 4. But after that, I would like to go to the BPs. And I understand I haven't been following politics, but I think the 30 is the first debate, no? 30 of September. Somebody can be more knowledgeable that, but yeah, I'm going to be doing an analysis on the first debate, but I would like to see how they interact with each other. So guys, I'm going to call you back to do the reading of the difference and the 2 BPs and see what happened. What about that?
Looking forward to it. Great stuff.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we're gonna go to the Q&A. If that is what you see, they're misaligned. Some of them have lines, others they don't have. That is my distance between eyes. So I'm sure the team is looking because I'm check here. Somebody's going to write me a text after like, Susan, it's all completely misaligned. Like, Yeah, that's me. I don't care. So if you want to contact me at Susan at humanbehaviorlab.com, same with Elba at humanbehaviorlab.com. If you want to talk to Joseph or learn more about the classes that he is giving online, please go to Joseph at clearsightcommunication.com. And if for any reason you miss the emails and you don't see it, please let us know and we can give you the information. Guys, thank you very much. I have an awesome time like always. We have a lot of comments. Awesome being here. I had no idea this was weekly. We'll be back next week. Yet it is. You guys are awesome. Thank you. I believe it is 29. Well, you're the politician, so you should know, Earl. So yeah, we're gonna start doing since we have the license for LinkedIn, we're gonna be start doing every Friday, 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, different kind of face reading. We're gonna be reading different topics. No personal opinion. Again, whatever you guys choose, we can do it. I have one of my keynote speaking where I put Hitler and Gandhi on the same picture and show what are the similar features and how the different background you have. And some people criticize me for that keynote, but I show like both mobilize people. One did it on the right way, one used it for evil. So you can have the same features. How you apply your gift, it's your responsibility, but your face can tell us so much about it. So personally, I always say, I'm a face mercenary. You want me to read it, I will read it. Why? Because it's not about us, it's about you, help you to make decisions and teach you something new. That, at least for me, is fascinating. Between forensic analysis and a statement content analysis and face reading, there are three things that fascinate me. Joseph, what about you?
Yes, I love to look at different faces and see the distinctions. Like I would also be inclined to put Gandhi and Hitler on the same page.
Oh, you really?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I love doing stuff like that. Oh gosh, yeah, absolutely. Because I love to see, because I see so many similarities. And obviously, if you get to a position of prominence and power, like they did, Gandhi, strictly speaking, he wasn't a politician as such, but he was a man of huge influence. So you have to have similarities of personality in there, and they're going to show up on the face. I think, as you say so rightly, it's a case of then how you use your gifts.
Elba, I know you're up on any craziness. If I tell you how many times we are until 4 o'clock in the morning with Elba analyzing one picture, you're gonna think that we should have a better therapist. But that's what we do. We
just not one picture, one feature.
Okay.
It's like
okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know me.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you very much again. We're having too much fun. It's been almost an hour. People is going to be boring about us. Thank you very much for all of you being here, because we can do and know a lot, but without you, we are nothing, because the interaction is really important for us. And since COVID, this has been really, really fun. For the guys on the Facebook private group, please do not miss the class tonight. See you next Friday, everyone. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Elba.
Thank you so much.
Until next Friday.
Bye.
Bye.